Here's the accommodation request that never gets denied. Being your own boss. No interactive process. No HR department. No waiting 60 days for a response that comes back as, "We'll look into it." You set the hours. You decide the workload. You control the environment. You build the job around your life, not your life around the job. Now, I'm not going to tell you entrepreneurship is easy. It's not. It's financially risky, logistically complicated, and emotionally demanding. But for a significant number of disabled people, it solves problems that employment simply cannot. And there's a real ecosystem of programs, funding, and tools specifically built to support disabled entrepreneurs that most people have never heard of. I'm Drew. This is Disability.co. Let's talk about building something for yourself. Let's start with an honest accounting of what employment looks like for a lot of disabled people. Even when the accommodation process works, there are structural limits to what an employer can or will provide. And there are things that employment fundamentally cannot give you, no matter how accommodating the employer. The employment gap for disabled people is real and persistent. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the employment rate for people with disabilities is consistently about 30 percentage points lower than for people without disabilities. Some of that gap reflects people who are unable to work due to the severity of their conditions. But a significant portion reflects something else: the mismatch between how traditional employment is structured and what many disabled people actually need. Traditional employment requires you to be somewhere at a specific time, for a specific number of hours, in an environment you didn't design, under conditions you don't control. For people managing energy-limiting conditions, ME, fibromyalgia, MS, lupus, POTS, the commute and the fixed schedule can consume the entirety of the energy budget before any actual work gets done. For people with chronic pain, sitting in a standard office chair for 8 hours is its own form of harm. For people with anxiety or sensory processing differences, an open-plan office can be genuinely disabling in ways that go beyond what any reasonable accommodation can fix. Here's what owning your own business can give you that most employers cannot. You control the schedule. You work when your body cooperates, rest when it doesn't, and build in the flexibility that energy-limiting conditions require. You control the environment. You design the workspace around your needs, not around what's standard. You control the workload. You can scale back during flares and ramp up during good periods without needing to justify it to anyone. You control disclosure. You never have to tell a client or customer anything about your health. And you control your income ceiling. You're not locked into the pay scale of an employer who may quietly undervalue you because of disability-related bias. There are over 3 million self-employed Americans with disabilities. That's not a niche. That's a real economic constituency that has figured something out. That for them, the structure of work itself was the primary barrier. And removing that structure changed everything. Before we get into the business building specifics, we need to address the elephant in the room for anyone on SSDI. What happens to your benefits if your business starts making money? Because this fear keeps a lot of people from ever starting. And that fear is understandable, but it's often based on incomplete information. Social Security evaluates work activity using a standard called Substantial Gainful Activity, or SGA. In 2026, the SGA threshold for non-blind individuals is $1,690 per month in net earnings. If your self-employment income, after business expenses, consistently exceeds that amount, Social Security will eventually evaluate whether you're still disabled under their rules. But there's a lot of space between zero and that threshold, and there are specific programs designed to help you test self-employment without immediately losing everything. The Trial Work Period, or TWP, allows SSDI recipients to test their ability to work, including self-employment, for up to 9 months within a 60-month window without affecting benefits, regardless of how much you earn. In 2026, any month where you earn more than $1,210 counts as a trial work month. 9 months gives you a genuine window to test whether a business model is viable before Social Security starts evaluating your continued eligibility. After the trial work period ends, Social Security enters a 36-month extended period of eligibility. During this window, you receive benefits for any month where your earnings are below the SGA level, and no benefits for months where you exceed it. But you don't have to reapply if your income drops back below the threshold. This 3-year buffer gives entrepreneurs a meaningful runway to build towards sustainable income without an abrupt benefits cliff. Now for the program that most people on SSDI have never heard of, the Plan to Achieve Self-Support, called a PASS. A PASS is a formal SSA-approved plan that allows you to set aside income or resources, including SSDI benefits, to pay for expenses that support your goal of self-employment. The money set aside under a PASS doesn't count against your SSI asset limits, and it may reduce your countable income for SSI purposes. In practical terms, a PASS can fund business startup costs, equipment and technology, education and training, transportation to business activities, and professional services like accounting or legal fees. One more work incentive worth knowing: impairment-related work expenses, called IRWEs. These are costs related to your disability that you pay out of pocket in order to work. Things like prescription medications needed for work, specialized transportation, personal attendant services, and assistive technology. IRWEs are deducted from your gross earnings before Social Security calculates whether you've hit the SGA threshold. If your disability requires significant work-related costs, IRWEs can effectively raise the income ceiling before benefits are affected. Specific programs that most people have never heard of. The Small Business Administration is the federal agency that exists to support small business owners. SBA guarantees loans made by participating lenders, which reduces risk and makes financing more accessible for borrowers who might not otherwise qualify. SBA guaranteed loans include the 7A loan program, which covers general business purposes up to $5 million, and the microloan program, which provides smaller loans up to $50,000 through nonprofit intermediaries. The microloan program is particularly relevant for early-stage businesses and sole proprietors. SBA Small Business Development Centers, SBDCs, are a network of nearly 1,000 locations across the United States that provide free one-on-one consulting and low-cost training to small business owners. Business plan development, financial projections, marketing strategy, access to capital, all free. There is one within reasonable distance of almost anyone in the United States. If you are starting a business, using the SBDC in your area is not optional. It is the obvious first step. Vocational rehabilitation programs, VR, are state-administered and provide services to help people with disabilities prepare for and maintain employment. And here's the part most people miss. VR services can include support for self-employment. If self-employment is a viable vocational goal for you, your state VR agency may fund business startup costs, training, equipment, and assistive technology as part of your individual plan for employment. Beyond VR and SBA, the National Disability Institute runs financial capability programs and connects disabled entrepreneurs with technical assistance. Some states have their own disability entrepreneurship initiatives, and the broader grant landscape, foundations, community development financial institutions, and corporate social responsibility programs increasingly includes disability entrepreneurship as an explicit funding category. SCORE is a network of volunteer business mentors, largely retired executives, that provides free mentoring to small business owners. Like SBDCs, SCORE is free, national, and underused. A good SCORE mentor relationship can provide ongoing guidance, accountability, and access to networks that are hard to build otherwise. Not every business model works for every disability profile. The most disability-friendly business models tend to be asynchronous, location-independent, and scalable through leverage rather than physical presence. Some specific models that tend to fit well: consulting and coaching. You sell expertise in a domain you already know, work by appointment, and control your client load. Online content creation. YouTube, podcasting, newsletters create asynchronous income through advertising and sponsorships. E-commerce and digital products. Online stores, downloadable products, and courses generate income that doesn't require real-time presence. Freelance writing, design, and development. Project-based, asynchronous, remote, and scalable. The lowest barrier entry points for disabled entrepreneurs are typically service-based businesses, consulting, freelancing, coaching, that require almost no startup capital and can be tested at small scale before committing fully. If you have expertise in any domain, whether that's a professional skill, knowledge of a specific system or industry, or lived experience with a community, there is a service business that can be built around it. Here's a reframe worth sitting with. Disability is not only a constraint on how you do business, it is also, for many entrepreneurs, a direct source of business insight and market access. Disabled entrepreneurs who build products for the disability community have something no non-disabled founder has: genuine insider knowledge of the problem, the community's trust, and credibility that can't be manufactured. The practical side of starting a business involves some decisions that interact directly with the disability benefits picture in ways worth understanding up front. Business legal structure. For most early-stage solo businesses, the choice is between operating as a sole proprietor and forming an LLC, a limited liability company. A sole proprietorship offers no liability protection. An LLC protects your personal assets from business liabilities, costs roughly $50 to $500 to form depending on your state, and can provide tax flexibility as your business grows. For most people starting a small service business or online business, an LLC is the right first structure. Self-employment taxes. When you're self-employed, you pay both halves of Social Security and Medicare taxes, 15.3% of net self-employment income on top of regular income taxes. Set aside 25 to 30% of every dollar of profit for taxes. Pay quarterly estimated taxes to avoid a penalty at year-end, and get a basic accounting system in place from day one. The tax upside of self-employment. Business expenses are deductible. Your home office, your internet, your computer, your phone, your software subscriptions, your professional development, your assistive technology used for business, all potentially deductible. The home office deduction is particularly valuable for disabled entrepreneurs who work from home full-time. A tax professional who understands self-employment is worth every dollar of their fee. Coordinating your business income with SSDI or SSI is the most important ongoing financial management task for a disabled entrepreneur on benefits. For SSDI, report your self-employment income and business expenses to Social Security every year. Work with a WEPA counselor to track your trial work period months and extended period of eligibility. For SSI, self-employment income is calculated differently than wage income. Report every month. The case for disabled entrepreneurship isn't that it's easy. It isn't. It's that for a specific set of people whose disabilities create structural conflicts with traditional employment, it solves problems that no employer-based accommodation ever will. You stop trying to fit your condition into someone else's structure and start building a structure that fits your condition. The resources are real. The SBA, the SBDCs, SCORE, vocational rehabilitation, PASS plans, WEPA counselors. These exist, they're largely free, and they're built for exactly this. The knowledge gap is the main barrier, not the programs themselves. Now you have the map. What to do next? We'll see you there.